drink, sit down, drink, stand up, drink, pass out, drink, wake up, drink, baby, drink.
Hi family, welcome back to my channel. I hope you enjoyed that mini concert that I just gave you because I feel energized in a way. This is my second time filming this video because the lighting was off, unfortunately. So if you see parts during this video that is slightly darker, it's because I rely on natural sunlight, natural daylight, and I still need to get equipment so I can get my lighting sorted properly. But for now, this is what I can give you, so just to give you a heads up. But I hope you enjoyed this mini lip sync that I gave you. And for those who do not know me yet, I am OYOKO, but you could call me V. And today's video is about how I overcome my creative block, because I've been having some difficulties. I've been battling with having this block for a couple of weeks now. And suddenly I feel a bit more energized because I'm trying to implement new things in my life, trying to get rid of this block. But hopefully this might inspire you, or this might help you in some regard. So do stick around. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to like the video if you like the video afterwards. And let's get into it. Also, the song I was like lip singing to was Woods by Mac Miller, because I love that freaking song. I love that song so much. I love that entire album. I started listening to Circles, the name of the album. I started listening to that album since probably last week, since his passing, because I had a really hard time trying to listen to this man's music after he died, because Mac Miller, you know, he was really important to me during my like late teens, early 20s. I went to his concert, I checked everything that he put out, so it was very heartbreaking to hear that he overdosed and that he just, you know, left us. And I'm not gonna, this is gonna be a different video, so I'm not gonna be focusing on this too long, but I just wanted to, you know, enjoy and honor this man in a way. So that's why I did a whole lip sync for you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll put the, you probably know who Mac Miller is, so if you don't, go look him up. I love his music. I love his entire discography. I love everything that this man has put out throughout the years. So hopefully he is resting really well. Anyway, back to the creative block situation. So I am going to divide this video in 3 parts, so stick around. I'm going to start with the first one, which is the flow state. The flow state. Okay, so I imagine the flow state to be, you know, the avatar state. If you are familiar with The Last Airbender, the animated series, then you know that Aang gets into his avatar state when there's like an immediate threat, but he's then very hyper focused, hyper aware. Everything around him seems to become irrelevant. And that is how I see the flow state as well. If you don't know what the flow state is, I will put the name of the author and just the person that coined the term. I'll put it on the screen so you can see it. He has a TED Talk and he has a book called Flow. I have that book as well, but not here with me. But if you want to know more about how you get into a flow state, or what the flow state of mind is, then yeah, go and check that out. But I imagine to be in a flow state when I think of the avatar, getting into the avatar state. And what I mean by that is, in this situation, what I do is doing things that I love to do and detaching myself from the outcome. So I had a flow state. I was in a flow state last week because I went to the studio and made a mix but I needed to deliver that mix the same day. So I was quite stressed. So I was heavily attached to the outcome. It needed to be perfect, or like it needed to be close to perfection. So I was so not anxious, but very stressed that it needed to be perfect so I could like send it off. So the first 3-4 times didn't work out. It was full of mistakes, but towards the end, I let go of everything, and I just focused on the music, focused on enjoying myself. And the minute I started doing that, it turned out to be a very, very lovely mix, a very good mix, if I say so myself. So I detached myself from the outcome, and I got into this flow state. Nothing really mattered anymore. Time didn't occur to me anymore. I was not, thinking about, oh, I need to get this done as soon as possible. None of that happened. And that is what I tend to need when I try to overcome a creative block. I need to focus on these things. So there is an energy exchange. You get into a certain mental state where everything is free flowing. The energy is free flowing. Whatever activity you are engaging in, or whatever it is that you're doing, there's energy exchange. You give it energy, whatever it is giving you energy back. You feel fulfilled, you're focused, you're hyper aware, nothing else is relevant, you are in the moment. And I think that is so important. There is a podcast I was listening to the other day, and in that podcast, that particular episode was, who do we make art for? I will definitely share that in the description so you can go and check it out. But the podcast is called Make Art, Not Content. And when I was listening to this episode, I started asking myself, I think we should all ask ourselves, who are we making art for? Are we making it for ourselves or for other people? I like to believe that I make art for myself. But if other people acknowledge the work that I do, the work that I put out there, and they admire that and they can resonate with that, then it does give me a rewarding feeling. I do feel joy when people tell me, oh, this is what it did to me. You made me feel noticed or whatever through your art. Then it is a rewarding feeling, but I will not let that be the driving force or the reason why I make art. I make art for me first and others second. It needs to be intrinsically motivated for me to keep doing it. It's almost like therapy. I create art, I do the things that I love to do because it's therapy for me. It's therapeutic. It's exploring myself, and simultaneously it's expressing my being to others, to the world. And if people happen to resonate with that, then that's perfect. But if not, then that's cool too. I will still make art regardless. So yeah, that's really an interesting, there's a really interesting view that I got introduced with when I was listening to that podcast. So go and check it out if you wanted to know more. I actually love that entire podcast. Nothing is sponsored. I don't know this person or like the organization behind it. It's actually by the Mystery School. So I think if you look that up, you'll probably get to find more about, the Mystery School. But that's what I wanted to add on. When it comes to having a creative block, I have the tendency to self-sabotage. And what I mean by that is I start limiting myself, I have self-limiting beliefs. I don't take breaks anymore. I start comparing myself, and it is very detrimental. And this also ties into your well-being, or my well-being and health in general. I'm constantly focusing on this one particular thing, or ruminating constantly because I want to get it done. I want to have it perfect. So I completely disregard my bodily needs. I've been in a headspace before that I've been so consumed by the thing that I am doing that I just get angry when I need to pee. I get angry because I don't want to do what the body wants to do now. Like getting hungry, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to eat now. I don't have time to go and do grocery shopping and cook and eat. I will literally, eat something quick or like snack on something and then move on, because I want to get this thing done. I want to focus on this thing because I want to continue being in that flow state, if you know what I mean. So it is very detrimental in a way. So what I would suggest, to myself and to other people that are struggling with having a creative block, prioritize your health, your well-being. If you actually take breaks and focus on what your body needs, you'll be able to create as you want, as you wish, as you please. Okay, so the second part is journaling. I use this journal for almost everything. I had this one for a very long time. I think since I was 19. It's pretty old, but I still love it. I had a different one, a brown one, that I don't use anymore because it's full, but I do go back to it from time to time just to read some of the parts that I had written about certain topics. But I use journaling as a way to remind myself how far I've come, what I want to achieve, what I have achieved so far. And it's a way for me to clear my mind. It's a way for me to get everything structured up here, because I put everything structured in here, and it just gives me much more direction. It's more focused. It helps me to be more focused. It helps me to, put together goals that I would like to achieve. So it's quite actionable, and it's also a way for me to express myself through writing. So I write poetry, I write lyrics, I write so many different things. I even write one-liners. I have a different notebook where I write down one-liners that I have heard, or phrases that I have heard from other people or during conversations with other people. And it really helps me. It just removes the weight off my shoulders or out of my mind. Put it in here, and then I don't have to think about it. Just write stuff down. It might help you. And there's no harm in trying. You can try, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So, journal. So then we have inspiration. Try to do things that you love, that you know that will inspire you. So for me, this can be writing, reading, dancing, listening to music, going to workshops, trainings, going to art festivals, exhibitions, going to art installations, meet with fellow artists, trying to get to know their art practice, what their process is, what their struggles are, all these things, because that can be a way for you to, inspire yourself.
One of the things is about the basic story of chai, and that's why, and it has a colonial history because the British planted tea leaves, and there was a reason why chai was made, so you can find a deeper meaning. It was like, then we added milk, then we added sugar. But actually the cups reveal inequalities, which is what I found after I bought these. They were in Chennai, and there were single-use cups, and I work a lot in sustainability and things like that, and design, and I thought, wow, everyone was giving me this narrative. They were like, a single-use cup, so the Indians are so thrifty, they just chuck them in the corner. You'll see them all around India. The clay, and they recycle the clay, and everybody got this narrative, like anyone you talk to, it's like, clay is amazing, terracotta, recyclable. So I was like, I need these cups, and I need them not to break on the way here in the suitcase, because they're single use. But then I found that actually in India, the reason why clay cups were used was because of casteism, and it was because they didn't want the lower castes to ever drink from the same cup as upper castes, and actually the upper castes got glass. And actually for me, I never see these materials in the same way after hearing that one thing, because actually there's a deeper narrative about inequality there. So it could be sustainable, but it's actually not equal. And so I would say that when you hold a cup, or when you look at a material, there's a deeper narrative to it. And if you can see the inequality in something, you can design for equality. And that's the thing that I guess we both fields.
And even if it's outside of your, your field, it doesn't have to be art related. I get inspiration from almost anything, everywhere. I get inspired by the most random things. I sometimes watch surgical procedures and I'm like, oh, this looks so fascinating. And then I start writing a poem about it, or I write a poem inspired by this surgeon that did something to, anyway, it doesn't matter. But you can get inspired by almost anything, and try to do things that you usually wouldn't do in a way. So that's something that I would recommend. That's something that I am doing. There's another thing that I wanted to mention. A friend of mine mentioned this triangle tool, and I wanted to share this with you. I will find a picture and then put it on the screen so you can actually see it properly. But this is, I know the handwriting, the drawing, don't pay no mind to that, okay? But this is what I wrote down or like drawed. But it's a triangle that is very common in like project management, and they use this to make strategic decisions, and you can honestly apply this to anything, literally anything. And I just call it the triangle, but it has like at each corner, it's a corner, yeah, at each corner it has one element. So it has time, it has money, or you can replace money with cost, and you have quality. So basically what it means is, what is it that you need to compromise in order to do what you want to achieve? So if you don't have much time but you want a high quality product or service, that means you need to compromise with money. You need to pay a lot of money. If you don't have a lot of money but you do have a lot of time and you still want something that's high quality, then that's what you need to invest in. The time is what you need to invest in order to get that high quality service or product or something that you're doing. And then you have the other part, which is you can get something very quickly, but you don't want to invest a lot of money in it. Then you can get the service or product, but it could be of low quality, of poor quality. So this is a way for me to, remind myself as well, like, oh, you haven't produced anything or you haven't done as much, because it takes time. Unless you want to spend a lot of money and have something very quickly, that doesn't mean that it will be, authentic, or it doesn't mean that it will be of good quality. You don't want to rush into things. You don't want to get something very, very quickly, because you might compromise your values. You might compromise your integrity. You might compromise your authenticity. So this is something I use when it comes to, reminding myself that art takes time. Being creative takes time. Don't put pressure on your freaking self. I use this. I call it the triangle, but that's what I wanted to add on. Let's go to the last part. So the last part is Detour. So this is part 4. And Detour is basically doing things that are completely unrelated to your practice, to your artistry. And this can be anything. This can be you moving around furniture in your space because you want to restructure your room. This can be walking a different route from your house to the shops, or from work to your house. Having a different outlook on things can completely change the context of what it is that is causing you to have this block. It's really about not actively seeking inspiration somewhere else, but just doing things differently. It can be the simplest things, like the simplest, smallest things, like giving someone more eye contact than usual, or having conversations with strangers when you usually wouldn't do that. It can be things that will require you to step out of your comfort zone, but it will be a different thing for you to do. It will trigger different emotions, different feelings in you. It can potentially trigger something else that will potentially help you to overcome this creative block. All of a sudden have a eureka moment. Eureka? I don't know, you never know what can come out of the things that you would do outside of your comfort zone, or things that you would just do in general that usually wouldn't be your forte. But why not try other stuff? Be explorative, be experimental, try different things and see where that will get you. You might end up liking it. So what's the big deal? Just don't push yourself beyond your limits. That's the only thing I think I want to leave you with. Because having a creative block can be it can be quite destructive as well. And yeah, it's just not a nice place to be mentally. But I don't put too much emphasis on the outcome. And when I do that, when I detach myself, things starts to feel lighter. It starts to feel easier, and I can focus more on the process. I can focus more on other things. And if you want to involve other people, you can actually ask people for advice, constructive criticism, because their view could potentially help you and trigger other ideas as well. It's about generating new ideas. So yeah, it's just, don't overthink it. Just try and do something that is unrelated and that might help you generate new ideas and overcome your creative block. I've been doing it and it's working out well so far, but we'll see how that goes, how long that will last. We're not machines. You don't have to constantly produce. You don't have to constantly perform. You don't have to constantly be creative and push out content. I'm still struggling with this. So, I will have times that I just feel so, so lackluster. And it is what it is. I just accept it. It's part of being human. So don't be too hard on yourself. And I think that's it. Anyway, this was the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would do or wouldn't do, or if you have done something similar. And that's it. I'm gonna go back to my lip syncing. I might do the whole album. I don't know. But I love this microphone, this DIY microphone, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, but this is something that I usually don't do, and now I'm gonna do it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to like the video, and I will see you in the next one. So I hope you are well. I hope you go well. I hope you stay well, and I will see you in the next video. DEUCES.